Hello, my name is Jim Burkett, Director of Outside Warehousing with Tyson Foods. This instructional video demonstrates using a Lexmark printer to produce Global Trade Service export document forms. For those unfamiliar with the GTS system, it has a number of benefits for you and Tyson Foods. First, by automatically populating some fields, it reduces the amount of data you have to enter to print a form. GTS also has all destination country specific forms pre-installed. Updates are applied to FSIS forms as soon as they are available. Lastly, information is stored and archived directly at Tyson Foods, which ensures legal compliance and reduce the data storage needs for your site. Printing an export form is slightly more complicated than printing a normal document. Please watch this video and contact the IS team if you have any questions. Thank you on behalf of Tyson Foods for your assistance.
Welcome to Tyson Foods' presentation of using the Lexmark 2590n forms printer for printing export documents. I'm John Law, and I will be walking you through the process of adjusting your printer, aligning and setting up your computer's print drivers so that you can achieve the best results from your Lexmark printer.
The objectives for today are to demonstrate the proper setup steps for a Lexmark 2590n forms printer. We're going to cover setting up the printer, properly loading paper, and the correct print options for your PC. Although it may seem minute, even minor printing errors can cause major shipment delays.
This is the Lexmark 2590n forms printer. This printer is in use by the majority of sites processing export forms using global trade services. Let's begin by looking at the control panel, which is on the left side of the printer. From this control panel, you can start and stop the printer, load and unload paper, and feed paper up a full line at a time. There are other buttons, but you'll most likely not need to use them. This control panel can be opened to access additional controls. The controls you will use most often on this panel are the micro up and micro down buttons. These buttons allow you to incrementally move a loaded form up or down in relation to the print platen, which we'll show you in a moment. The other controls are not necessary, and we advise against using them unless you have fully read the manual and are comfortable resetting the printer to factory defaults on your own. So in summary, on the control panel, you will primarily use the start-stop, load-unload, line feed, and micro-up and micro-down buttons. The other buttons are not necessary for printing GTS forms. This selector is used to set the distance from the print head to the platen, the indicator line. If the thickness is set too low, the print will smudge. If the thickness is set too high, the print will cause letters to be incomplete and the text to be illegible. We have found that the best settings for printing certificates is between 3 and 5. You should always make sure the paper thickness is set correctly prior to printing multi-page forms. Again, while your experience may differ, our testing has found the best settings to be between 3 and 5 on the paper thickness selector.
Now let's check out the top of the printer. The print head and platen are located under the sound guard.
To open the sound guard, pull up on the gray latches and lift. This printer uses a static platen, which is this bar inside the printer. When set to default, the paper should feed to the top of the platen. We're going to demonstrate that in a moment. With the sound guard up, you can also access the printer ribbon. The printer ribbon is defaulted to 1. While this is adjustable, you should never need to change this setting. Now we will talk about the paper feed path, how to feed paper into the printer, and how to make sure it's lined up properly for printing. Feeding paper into the Lexmark 2590n is the most critical part of printing, and it's easy to put the paper in wrong. It takes practice and patience to learn how to set up all impact printers. This Lexmark is no exception. To print a form, you need to feed the paper into it through the manual paper feed tray. To open the paper feed tray, simply pull down the door on the front.
Now you'll need to set the paper width. By default, we set the leftmost paper guide to A. This setting is as far to the right as the guide will go. The rightmost paper guide should be set to the width of the paper. To feed the paper in, place it on the paper feed tray between the paper guides. Gently push the paper forward until it is pulled up by the printer. Once the paper is pulled up, you need to open the sound guard, which is the plastic door on top of the printer, and check to see if the paper is aligned along the top edge of the platen. If it isn't, adjust it by gently pulling the form from the bottom until it looks level with the platen. Then, open the control panel and use the micro adjust up or down until it lines up uniformly across the top of the platen. If you run into difficulties, don't pull the paper out manually. Use the control panel to feed the paper out the top.
The printer prints characters the same way every time. There's no way to adjust the numbers and letters once the paper's been fed. To make those adjustments, you need to make those changes when you feed the paper in. Now that the printer itself is set up, we're going to briefly look at the options you need to select on your PC. You should check these settings each time you print for GTS.
In the Print dialog box, Step 1. Set up the printer name to Lexmark Forms Printer 2590. Step 2. Verify that page scaling is set to none. If page scaling is turned on, it can cause the print to be illegible and misaligned. Step 3. Set comments and forms to documents and markups. Step 4. Auto-rotate and center and choose paper source by PDF size should not be checked. Step 5. Make sure print to file is not checked. If print to file is checked, nothing will print. You are now ready to print a form. If your paper is properly loaded and aligned with the platen, then everything should print normally. In summary, properly printed certificates save Tyson time and money. An incorrectly printed certificate won't be approved by the USDA, and our shipments will be held up. Following these steps will ensure a well-printed document. Feed the paper in and make sure it's lined up correctly. Align uniformly with the top of the platen. Check the paper thickness setting, usually set between 3 and 5. Check the driver settings. Page scaling is set to none, and comments and forms are set to documents and markups. Auto-rotate and center, choose paper source by PDF size, and print to file should be unchecked. Print a test page first, and then print the actual export document.
This concludes the video lesson. Thank you for your time. We hope this information will prove useful to you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call the Tyson Help Desk. Thank you, and have a good day.